So good afternoon to March the 25th, 2014. This is CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Today is day number 12 in week number 7. Welcome back to this class, March the 25th, 2014. This is the very last week for self-regulated learning. And so when I release the message this week, when you look at it, I remind you one more time, the 7 items you need to prepare, and you are supposed to submit them on the 29th of this month. That means this coming Saturday. But when you look at this message, the idea is already there. It's supposed to be due on March the 29th, but your submission period is extensible to April the 4th. That means next Friday. Yes, which is actually a holiday. So you have 2 weeks time to catch up, okay, in case you have not done the work. I think it should be good enough. But remember, this time, other than the 6 items that you are so much used to in your first learning contract, you need to make sure you work on the wiki, the collaborations wiki, okay? And so I'm going to remind you one more time, what are you supposed to do in your wiki? The 2 of you in your pair must work together in the wiki, or if you have 3 persons in your pair, 3 persons must work together in your wiki. And what you need to do is create individual page of your own in your wiki, okay? And under your individual page, you put your journals there, you put your discussion summary there, and you put your report there, okay? Remember, when I talk about report, it's the report of your topic, okay? Finally, when you submit the report for this learning contract, each member in your pair must create a report of his or her own topic. Remember that. And so just like in the first learning contract, when you put those reports together, it should contain 2 topics for a pair of 2 persons, or 3 topics for a pair of 3 persons. That means in your wiki page, you must provide those details so that your partner can look at it. Okay? Without the troubles of the first learning contract, when you have to exchange your Microsoft Word document, remember that. The Microsoft Word documents still have to be produced when you submit it, but it's a direct copy and paste from your wiki pages. So it's a very interesting way of working together, very closely in the wiki, okay? So I suppose that you will have to go to the wiki almost every day now to put things over there, all right? Or better say, to update your wiki pages. So the individual journal, each one of you need to select 1 week's journal out of the 3 possible weeks. Week number 5, week number 6, and week number 7. Only 1 week is enough. Now, since you're supposed to select a week, when you select which week's journal to submit, I expect that you have already talked with your learning partner already, because your learning partner is going to share the week's topic journal with you. For example, you might have 4 topics in 1 week, okay? And you might have 6 topics in another week. And you want to reduce the workload, of course, you select the week with 4 topics, you select the week with 6 topics, right? And then if you share 4 topics with your learning partner, each one of you has to do 2 topics only, okay? So you can take the 2 topics you do, and also take the 2 topics your partner do, and submit as your personal journal for that week. And your partner will do the same. So that's the reasons why I say you need to work together with your learning partner. And you learn from your learning partner, the learning partner can learn from you. But you have to remember, when the score is released, both of you will receive the same grade, okay? That is a trade-off, all right? If you don't want taking a risk, you better take a look at your partner's work based on the rubric, all right? So that's why we say the rubric is over there. And the second thing is, you have to discuss 3 topics instead of 1 topic in this learning contract. So, and 3 topic must be done this way. 1 topic, select from 1 week. Okay? 1 distinct topic, select from 1 distinct week. So you need to discuss 1 topic for week number 5, 1 topic for week number 6, 1 topic for week number 7. Okay, this is the discussions requirement. And in a pair, that means the 2 of you have to go on through 6 topics, 3 for each one, right? And then you have to write a report. But the report is based on 1 topic of yours and 1 topic of your partner only. And how do you choose that topic? It must be 1 from the 3 you've already discussed. Okay? So that is a very important requirement, and which is a little bit different from the first learning contract. Okay? So all the other things are almost the same, except for the proposal this time, instead of an individual proposal, is a pair proposal. That means the 2 of you submit 1. And then for the meeting minutes, instead of 1 meeting minute, this time 3, because of the 3 weeks. And what you talk about in class must be recorded as an example of meeting minute. And the blog must be based on the report, but in a much more simplified versions, okay? Not as complicated as your report, all right? So these are the basic stuff. And you need to take into account that this is the self-regulated learning contract. So what you're doing in the 2 learning contracts can be summarized using this couple of points, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. If you have already read my teacher's message, you know that. You start by selecting a topic of interest, okay? 1 from each week. Week number 5, week number 6, week number 7. In the first learning contract, 1 topic from all the possible topics over the 4 weeks, okay? But this time, 2 more topics. And once you got a topic, you need to learn how to maintain interest and your curiosity about the content you're learning from that topic, and that is based on the item you select under the topic. And you have to actively look for existing knowledge to help learn new ideas and information. And what is new about this topic that you're discovering? Actively seek to link the new knowledge to what you already know. How do you make connections? Actively seek learning strategies to enhance your learning. That means you must work out some method which is based on the time available, efforts available, or motivations available to enhance your understanding. And try out the new knowledge by speaking or writing about it in your discussion forum, in your blog, and listen to your learning partner's feedback, and then you reflect on the feedback to find ways to adjust your understanding or your action, which is basically what the discussion is all about before you write the final report. And which upon, when you realize you have made the knowledgeable, that is when you know, when you write the blog, you have internalized all the new stuff. And that is basically what you have gone through in the first learning contract. And again, in the second learning contract, but this time, we add 4 important requirements here. This is the self-regulation challenge in the second learning contract. So the self-regulation challenge requires of you need to learn how to choose a topic. The criteria is you must understand what is required of you, okay? And how you can get a better score than last time. But incidentally, you should see the score of the first learning contract before the end of this week. I'm keeping hard my work now, although I will be in Hong Kong tomorrow the whole day. These include your timeline. You know how much time you have to get a piece of work done. These include how can you break the task which sounds to be large into manageable part, just like before you write a report. What should you start? You must have a topic. After you got the topic, you need to do some investigations about your topic, that is the journal. And after you've done your journal, you must talk with your friends, your learning partner, get some feedback. the end of that, you write a report and you write a blog. These are the manageable tasks. If you have not gone through those manageable tasks and you can tell me that this is my report, you might even forget what's the topic. And I must tell you that I've been grading some report last semester. At the end of I finished my grading, I cannot find the topic of that report. And I had to specifically call the student. I finished grading the report, but on which topic are you working on? I forgot. You see, so make sure you know what topic are you doing. So the basic way to do it is to make sure you follow the format as in the questionnaire, which tells you which week have you selected journal, which topic, which item of the topic. Okay. The second important thing is you must identify the necessary resources in order to get the topic researched and have an action plan which involve the basic skills of managing the task completions. Make sure that you know what is required of you, what you know, what you do not know, and then develop a schedule to get your job done. The reasons why you must have meeting with your learning partner is you have some occasions before the end of the contract to discuss about the progress. And take action means you actually have to spend time doing the individual tasks, okay? And getting used to using the resources to solve some of the problems there. And before you do the things again, you must have some kind of evaluations, assessment of your work on a weekly basis. And for example, for this learning contract, you just have 3 weeks together with the very last week next week, 4 weeks, and over the 4 weeks, at least 2 evaluations. We call them interior evaluations. So you must learn to identify the goal, identify the timeline, identify the resources, identify an action plan, work it all, review, evaluate, and come back and say, maybe we don't need to change the plan, we're working quite well, or we need to change the plan because we are far behind. So make sure you understand that this is the challenge in this second learning contract. All right, having said that, you know that you have 2 weeks time, okay, except for item number 7, which is actually directly in your wiki, the other, you have to extract it from the journals, extract it from your discussion forum details, and put it in a Microsoft Word document. Okay, having said that, let's come back to this week's. This is week number 7. So, this is a week about ethical issues of hacking and cracking and information fraud. Let's go through the first lessons today, okay? And then we hope to walk you through some very important topics. Yes. Oh. Here we go. Okay. The first topic, which as I introduced to you from the very beginning, it's social engineering. Let's take a look at this.
Social engineering, lesson 1, the art of deception. The honest reality about your network is that in spite of all of the incredible effort that your network administrators put into protecting it, all of the firewall and antivirus software, all the additional security measures, there is one link that is always the weakest, and that link is you. So what is social engineering? According to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, it's an outside hacker's use of psychological tricks on legitimate users of a computer system in order to obtain information he needs to gain access to a system. Or it's getting needed information, for example a password, from a person rather than breaking into a system. Or social engineering involves gaining sensitive information or unauthorized access privileges by building inappropriate trust relationships with insiders.
This was, I don't know, about 10, no, 15 And a friend of mine, a guy named Steve Rhodes at the time, was also a phone freaker, and we decided we wanted to take a self-guided tour.
This is Kelvin Benet.
So it was around 2:30 in the morning on a Saturday.
Social engineering class.
Different offices in Los Angeles, and we just let ourselves in, and we're roaming around the Hollywood CO, about on the 3rd floor, and then all of a sudden, this big guy, security guard, approaches us and goes, "Excuse me, yeah, do you have the ID?" And I go, "Sure." And I go in my pocket. He says, "Oh, I must have left my ID in the car. I'll go get it. I'll be right back." He goes, "No." He goes, "Who's this guy?" And I go, "Well, he's just a friend of mine, and I want to take him on a tour. He's never seen the central office." He goes, "At 2:30 in the morning?" I said, "Yeah, we just got out of the movie, and my friend is always wanted to work with the phone company. And so I figured I'd just take him on a quick tour." He goes, "Where do you work?" I said, "Why don't you Cosmos send me to CISG?" He goes, "Who's your supervisor?" And I told him the name of the supervisor. Incidentally, it wasn't the correct name of the person that San Diego Cosmos sent me. He goes, "No, you have to come, you guys have to come with us." So he escorts us to the elevator, and I know on the 9th floor is the switching control center, and that's where there's people up there because that office is manned. So you end up getting escorted up to the 9th floor, and there's about 5 or 6 people around, and the security guard's telling the story. "I found these 2 guys roaming around our building. This guy doesn't have ID. Let's find out what's going on." So one of the other supervisors, not a security guard, he goes, "What's your supervisor's name?" And I gave it to him. I said, "Well, listen, we can't make her up. Because look, it's 2:30 in the morning. If you want, I'll go to my car, we'll go get my ID, and I'll be right back." Of course, I have no plans of coming back. So he says, "No, we're calling your supervisor." So he picks up a book, some sort of intercompany directory, and thinking, well, they don't list phone telephone numbers in there. But apparently he had found some sort of notes or whatever, listing the supervisors on the phone. So he calls the supervisor, 2:30 in the morning, Saturday. He goes, "Listen, I found one of your employees, Steve, roaming around one of our offices. And he says he works for you." "Oh, you want to talk to him?" "Sure." So he hands me the phone, and I go, "Hey, Sally, how are you? I'm really sorry that you were woken up. I normally would never take a friend on a tour of a central office." And she's, as I'm speaking, she's saying, "Who are you? Who are you?" And I go, "Yeah, in my way Tuesday, we'll definitely, we still have that meeting for that report, correct?" And she goes, "Who are you? Who are you?" And I'm pressing the phone to my ear, so other people in the room can't hear what she's saying. He's only listening to my side of the conversation. And I'm like having a calm conversation with her. And I said, "Listen, okay, I'm just going to take my friend around for about 15 more minutes and we'll leave, and I'll see you on Tuesday." And I went over and I walked about, it was like about 2 steps, and I hung up the phone. And I go, "Are you satisfied?"
Here are some comments from notorious hacker Kevin Mitnick. He said, "The weakest link in the security chain is the human element." And according to a March 2000 article in the Washington Post, he said, in more than half of his successful network exploits, he gained information about the network, sometimes including access to the network, through social engineering. He also said, you could spend a fortune purchasing technology and services, and your network infrastructure could still remain vulnerable to old-fashioned manipulation. These are the simple definitions for what a social engineer does. But how is it we are so easily tricked? Well, social engineering is not a new thing at all. In reality, it's probably as old as speech and goes back to the first lie itself. Social engineering is still successful today because people are generally helpful, especially to someone who is nice, knowledgeable, and/or insistent. And remember, social engineering cannot be blocked by technology alone. In fact, Kevin Mitnick, from his book The Art of Deception, brings out that people inherently want to be helpful and therefore are easily duped. They assume a level of trust in order to avoid conflict. It's all about gaining access to information that people think is innocuous when it isn't. Yes, it's true. We want to believe people. When we hear a nice voice on the other line insisting that we help them, or when we hear that they can help us, we want to listen to them. we respond. It's part of our trusting human behavior. Well, it is a fine quality to trust others, but we need to know when certain things should send up red flags in our minds. So even simple information that we think is unimportant may be used by a social engineer to hurt us or our company later on. So the key to protecting ourselves and our company from social engineering is to become more familiar with some of the tricks involved, and to have policies in place that prevent a social engineer from getting through our weakest links, us.
Now ask yourself, because I'm going to continue giving you background information on social engineering today. First of all, ask yourself, after this 6 minutes and 57 seconds, okay, and in between there are about 3 to 4 minutes time to Calvin Binet, in his 50s now, sharing his story of his success when he was 20-something, okay? Think about what message have you got from this very interesting video. What is social engineering? Why is it important to know something about it? How is social engineering practiced? And what is the key to do a good social engineer? Think a little bit about this. I want you to think and talk among yourself before I give you another piece of background information. Okay, 3 to 5 minutes, all right? What have you discovered? Share among yourself, all right? I need to give you some papers, Jim. Just 1 or 2 ideas, it's very important. Otherwise, if I just keep giving you more videos, and you may not be able to absorb that. What have you discovered from the video? And do you understand the examples given by Kevin in the video? It's considered as the most powerful tricks of the trade to obtain information without spending a lot. If you know the tricks. First of all, you might want to discuss exactly what, right? What is social engineering? What is the difference between social engineering and telling lies? Social engineering is considered as the art of deception. Does it mean it's a high skill of telling lies? Okay? Lies means false. You have 2 more minutes. Now keep putting down some points in your piece of paper because you need some ideas that's impacting your discussions. And I hope you got some points already, and I'm not eager to pass the microphone to you and share at this point. I'm giving you another piece of information now. Okay? No, you don't need to think. You need to put down something, impressions first, like immediate response. Okay? Do you know someone who had once told you a lie that you believe is fact? Right? Have you ever met some friend of yours who gave you a white lie? Like you understand? Anyway, it's a very interesting expressions in English. You know, lie is no good. If I lie to you, I'm not telling the truth. Okay? But there is some positive idea behind lie, and we call this white lie. W-H-I-T-E. White lie. Okay? And what's the difference between social engineering and using a lot of white lie? Okay? White lies. Very good. Now, I'm definitely going to pass the microphone to Ivy after the discussions because we're going to share with us. So let's watch a little bit of the background on Calvin Vinnick now. Now pay attention to who Calvin Vinnick is.
Kevin Vinnick was probably the world's most notorious cyber thief when he was captured in 1995 and sentenced to 5 years in prison. Over a 13-year period, Mitnick broke into the computer systems of more than 35 major international corporations and other organizations, exploits that made him the FBI's most wanted computer criminal. When we first sat down with Mitnick in January of 2000, just before his release from federal prison, he told us that he saw himself not as a devious criminal, but more like a merry prankster.
I saw myself as an electronic joyrider having a great time on the information superhighway. I felt like I was like James Bond behind the computer. It was a big game to me. So I was just having a blast.
Did it ever occur to you that perhaps what you were doing was wrong?
Oh yeah, it was an invasion of privacy. Going and getting access to other people's information is obviously a gross invasion of privacy, and it is wrong.
And that didn't bother you?
At the time I was doing it, no.
What Mitnick was doing was breaking through the highly sophisticated computer defense systems that companies use to protect their trade secrets, which he repeatedly stole. His list of victims reads like a who's who of big business. They include Motorola, Sun Microsystems, Nokia, and software maker Novell. All told, the companies estimate Mitnick cost them $300 million in damages.
I believe I caused some damage, but nowhere near that number. I was an accomplished computer trespasser. I don't consider myself a thief. I didn't deprive these companies out of their software. I merely made a copy without doing anything more with it.
You stole it.
I copied it without permission.
That's stealing. That's stealing, Kevin. That's stealing.
I didn't use it for financial gain, nor did I cause any harm.
Beyond his skills as a computer hacker, what also made Kevin Mitnick so effective, according to the FBI, was his phenomenal ability to obtain confidential information from corporations by phoning unsuspecting employees and simply asking them for it. It's known as social engineering.
How would you describe social engineering?
Well, basically lying on the phone, manipulating or conning information out of people over the telephone.
So you were a good con man.
I was successful.
Mitnick was hacking and conning his way into corporate computer systems 10 to 12 hours a day. And while he held down legitimate jobs working with computers, he says hacking was like an addiction, which eventually became the most important thing in his life.
At one point, Kevin, you got married, right?
Yeah, 1987.
Didn't work.
Well, no, I mean, initially it was great. I loved her very much. But, what really broke up the marriage was I kept going back to my hacking. And it became a higher priority.
By the age of 25, Kevin Mitnick had been arrested 3 times for computer fraud. In 1989, he spent a year in jail. He was then placed on probation in order to receive counseling. He attended a 12-step program for his apparent addiction to hacking. It didn't work. He continued hacking. A warrant for his arrest was issued, and he became a fugitive, the FBI's most wanted cyber criminal. For more than 2 years, no law enforcement agency could catch him as he hacked his way across the country, assuming new identities.
But eventually, the FBI was able to track him down. And in the middle of the night on February 15, 1995, a team of FBI agents knocked on Kevin Mitnick's door, where he was living under an assumed name.
I think the guy goes, "Are you Kevin Mitnick?" I go, "No." I said, "Go look on the mailbox, you got the wrong department." And then he brings out this wanted poster of Kevin Mitnick, right? And he goes, "Well, isn't this you?" And what am I going to say? Yeah? I go, "Well," I said, "the nose looks a little bit the same, but everything else, it's definitely not me." I handed back the poster. He goes, "Well, tell you what we're going to do. We want to take you down to the FBI and fingerprint you. And determine whether you're Mitnick or not." I said, "Great, what time do you want me to show up in the morning?" I think, "No, we want to take you down."
So the social engineering skills hit a brick wall, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So where's a good place to stay?
Soon after we spoke to him in January of 2000, Mitnick walked out of jail a free man after having served almost 5 years. But the government wasn't finished with him yet. We'll tell you more about that when our update continues.
Tonight's update is sponsored by Zelnor. Ask your doctor about Zelnor.
Millions of women have tried fiber, even monsters, but they didn't go far enough to help all their symptoms. If you have recurring abdominal pain or discomfort, bloating, and constipation, you may have IBS with constipation. Fortunately, there's a proven medicine that works at the source of the problem to relieve all 3 symptoms. Prescription Zelnor. Unlike fiber and laxatives, only Zelnor helps coordinate the nerves, muscles, and fluid in your GI tract so it starts functioning more normally, and you can start feeling better. Zelnorm is only indicated for women. You should not take Zelnorm if you have a history of diarrhea, kidney, liver, or gallbladder disease, intestinal blockage, or adhesions. If you get new or worse abdominal pain, blood and stool, bad diarrhea, or diarrhea with cramping, pain, or dizziness, stop taking Zelnorm and tell your doctor. Ask your doctor about getting relief with Zelnorm. Zelnorm, be yourself again.
As part of his probation, Kevin Mitnick's access to computers was severely restricted. His career prospects were uncertain. That is, until the federal government came looking for him once again. But this time he had no reason to run because they wanted his help.
My name is Kevin Mitnick. I'm here before you today. I was released from custody in January of 2000. And just a few months later, I was invited to testify before Congress.
What you're telling us is that all our systems are vulnerable, both government and private.
Absolutely. And after that, a lot of businesses, I guess from seeing me on C-SPAN, were interested in having me speak about security.
And so a new career was born. This is a video Mitnick uses to market himself to potential clients.
A lot of you probably already know about my past. I was involved in computer hacking. The purpose of my public speaking is to raise awareness.
to what the security threats are, how the bad guys operate, and what you could do to protect yourself. There's the old adage, it takes a thief to catch a thief.
Mitnick maintains he no longer does any illegal hacking, but that hasn't stopped him from playing a hacker on TV,
We had Kelvin Houston access to a bogus website.
appearing on an episode of Aliens. And in real life, Mitnick freely admits that he's still breaking into other people's computer systems. But these days, he insists it's by invitation only, and it's legal.
I'm an ethical hacker today, and what I do is I essentially get paid to hack ethically to find security vulnerabilities in my client systems and notify them so they can fix them.
No longer on probation, Mitnick is not only busy consulting and speaking, he's also written a book on computer security and is working on a second.
Kevin Mitnick has grown up. Took a little while, but I finally did.
So here you go. You now know him better. You know who is Kevin Mitnick. It's a computer hacker in the 1980s, very famous in the 1990s, and finally arrested by the FBI after being fugitive for a couple of years. And then he served his sentence for 5 years in American jail. He was released, and then he became famous again because the government needed his help. And he's still very famous. He wrote a lot of books. One of the books is called Art of Deceptions, which is mentioned here next time right here. He wrote a lot of books. Okay, now, put together a little bit of understanding on social engineering based on this master of social engineering, and then try to see what more you can learn from this. Okay? Remember the story I told you that happened in 2012 in January the 4th in Macau with that Navy civil servant. Okay? It's basically, I believe, it's a lot of social engineering there. Okay? Okay, 5 minutes discussion, and then I'm going to show you one more video on Kelvin Mitnick. What have you learned from this man, Kelvin Mitnick? Okay, in the interest of time, let me show you the very last piece of episode of Calvin and Nick that I would like you to pay attention to before we come to the discussions after I finished sharing. This is the latest interview.
All right, Kevin, thanks for coming to meet with me. It's good to meet you.
Yeah, great to be here.
And I wanted to start off, we were talking earlier about what you are. You're a reformed computer hacker.
Yeah, former.
A former computer hacker.
Well, that's kind of half true. Back in days old, I used to be a bad guy hacker. In other words, breaking into systems without permission. Never to damage stuff or to steal money. It was all about the intellectual curiosity. And now, I still do hacking, but in an ethical sense. A lot of corporations and government agencies from around the world hire me to test their security using the same exact techniques that I used many years ago.
So the individuals who are going to be watching this video are digital nomads. So there are people that are traveling the world or traveling around a hotel like we're sitting right now. And I mean, you can look around here. There are people that are sitting with their laptops open. There's a network here that they can get on. Would that concern you if there were a hacker in this area?
Well, put it this way, at hacker conventions like Black Hat and DEF CON, I turn off everything. I bring a laptop like with a new build of the OS that has nothing on it. And because there's always ways to attack systems. They could attack a vulnerability in the driver that drives your wireless card, for example, and gain access to your system, maybe playing some sophisticated malicious code. But when I look around the room and I see people on their laptops, especially with open wireless like they have at hotels, I just think, wow, what a lot of targets, right? Because people aren't using encryption. A lot of times, they're not aware of the sophisticated attacks. First of all, you could have a rogue access point. So when somebody thinks they're associating with a hotel, they're associating with a rogue access point. You could do cross-site request forgery. What that is let's say you're already authenticated to your bank or utility company or website. You've already signed in. Well, if the attacker has identified a cross-site request forgery bug in any of the sites that you've authenticated to, if you're on a wireless network, the attacker can see the traffic. And then basically pretend to be the responding host if they go to Google and just inject JavaScript into your browser, and it could process a transaction on the websites you've already been authenticated to, and the real victim is in the logs, not even the attacker. So there's a lot of different old and new attacks that can happen over wireless. You can do man in the middle. You can basically hijack the entire wireless network, depending on the router, the wireless router they're using, but a lot of hotels don't protect against this type of attack, is where you're doing ARP poisoning. And you're basically telling everyone that you are the router. And all the connections are going through you. If you can create that environment, you can do man-in-the-middle attacks, which mean when somebody goes to a site that uses SSL, secure sockets layer, mind you, the victim will get like a certificate doesn't match warning, but everyone just clicks OK to continue anyway. And then if you're connected to your bank or a credit card company, then everything can be monitored in the middle by the attacker. And these are very simple. A 15-year-old with Backtrack 3, which is a bootable penetration testing tool set, could do these type of attacks by sitting in a hotel, sitting at an airport. It's really easy.
So for the nomad, the person who's either on a plane flying around the world or going to the local coffee shop to work from there versus going to the office, what tips would you give them? Things that they can do to be more secure?
Can I digress with that question for a second? Just because you're in an airplane, you're not safe. Because when you're in an airplane, what happens in like for example, in Windows and even in Mac OS, is as soon as you boot up your computer, the wireless zero configuration service on Windows is going down the list of access points that are on your preferred list, and they're basically checking, is that available, is that available, is that available, and they're going down the list of access points you associated to before. So the hacker on the plane could run a simple utility that when your machine asks for like Linksys or American Airlines lounge, the attacker says, yes, I've got access point, hands off the person an IP address, and now they're on a local network together. So now when that person fires up Outlook because they want to write emails on the plane, so when they hit the ground, they could connect and all their emails are sent out. What happens is Outlook every 15 minutes tries to connect to the server, and if they're using like POP3 or IMAP, not SPOP or SIMAP, but insecure protocols that transfer the passwords in the clear, now you've been owned or compromised.
Okay.
So just because you can be 30,000 feet up in the air and still get hacked.
So what should that person do? I mean, is there something you can do? And my other question would be, is there such a thing as a secure laptop?
No, you could have secure laptops, but nothing is going to... Secure laptop, what I mean is like everything on there is encrypted. That's one thing I recommend is for people that travel like myself. I travel through customs all the time, internationally. I'm in a hotel here in Austin. Somebody can go to my room and rip off my laptop, and I keep everything encrypted.
Okay.
Personally, there's two utilities, one TrueCrypt and one by PGP called PGP Whole Disk Encryption. And these are tools that people can use to encrypt their data. So that way, if laptops are stolen and the data can't be decrypted, hopefully they're not using a very weak, easy to guess password, then the data is relatively safe. So I really recommend encryption. For wireless networks, I think you can configure, configure Windows to basically not automatically connect or probe for access points to connect to, or you could maybe configure it that it only will connect to secure, ones that use web or WPA. Or you simply just turn off when you're on a plane. Easiest thing is just disable the wireless interface. Takes a couple clicks. I'd be very cautious about using open wireless networks. The first thing I would do is what I do myself is I set up a VPN to a server at home. So the first thing I do is connect via a virtual private network to another system, and then all my traffic is tunneled through this encrypted tunnel.
Okay.
It doesn't give me 100% security, but it boosts it probably 80%. And the attackers are going to go after the low-hanging fruit. Unless they do it with Kevin Mitnick, and they try to work a little bit harder.
Here we go. Now, this video matches very well with the last video we saw on last Friday, right? Which talks about the airport, where everybody has a notebook computer, a joint wireless network. And in this particular context, we call these people digital nomads. Carry the notebook and go everywhere in the city, hooking up to wireless network and get online, go back to work and whatever it is. And the risk is a lot of hackers are ready to offer you access to different kind of Wi-Fi system, or unknowingly because of the automatic feedback or seeking for server connections of the Windows program, particular Outlook program. And very often you'll hook up to some kind of hacker's computer without you understanding it, and actually getting a lot of information. So if you watch this video carefully and listen to what we're talking about, you know that you've got to be very careful. Now that I've finished the 3 important videos for today, it's time for you to think a little bit more about this, and then let me pass the microphone to Ike. Today, Ike is going to share with us something. Do you need to use the computer? Okay. Okay. Do you need to go back to the session hall? Okay. Yes, I saw that. So let me make sure you have it here. Right here, right? Okay. I give you the computer. Let me be the cameraman. I'm so glad that we have Ike sharing today.
Now, today I will share the hackers. Hackers mean the people that have a lot of knowledge in computer science, programming and design. They steal personal information through the computer, and the people do not know that. Nowadays, in the digital age, information is important and it is needed to protect well. Hackers come out because of this reason. When we hear the word hacker, the first we think is that it is not a good word. In our mind, they are the people get into our computer, steal our personal information for illegal purpose, or send the virus to our computer through email or some website and make our computer cannot work. This is our first imagine of hackers. In real life, some hackers get the government and company permission to do the hacking. For example, some countries hire hackers to protect the information system. Besides, some companies hire hackers to test its company level of information system security to see if the network has any mistakes. They use hacker against hacker. We can see hackers can also do good things for us because they have these special knowledges. They know how to protect and avoid the hack from other hackers. They can also contribute for the society. So there are good and bad hackers. The difference is their reason of hacking. For the bad hackers, they will use personal information for illegal purpose, even to do criminal activity. In some cases, some hackers get into our computer or mobile phone to check our personal information which we don't know. Like the case in America, government check people's computer and listen to their mobile phone communication, but the people don't know. The government says it is needed to protect people by checking their information, so that it can find out the bad people quickly before they do bad things to the society. It looks like that the government is doing good for us. However, it steals people's information without telling them. People do not know that if the government uses the personal information for other purposes, for example, stealing the information to some sales company, people cannot get the privacy they have. Therefore, the people and other countries blame for American government's action. And I think this is not the only case in here. But if the American do this thing, it's like a hacker. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Ivy, for sharing with us. This is quite consistent with what we are doing over the past week and including today. It's very good. May I ask if there are any more students who would like to share today, even though you have not signed up? Okay, now let's give you some time to summarize what you have learned today and also over the past Friday, and help yourself discuss among your table members and see if you got some ideas on social engineering. And of course, if you have questions other than social engineering, for example, on your secondary contract, what you need to do, you're welcome. You can raise your hand, you can ask me, and I will be on your table, okay? And make sure you go online often to keep updated, all right? So, listen, remember, next week is the beginning of learning contract number 3. What it means is you must form teams, okay? Each team is composed of 2 pairs, okay? And I think in this class, there are no 2 pairs with 3 persons, so I could be very sure that any 2 pairs could be matched up easily, okay? So look for your learning pair to become your team partner, okay? So you have about 5 minutes time to discuss about what you learned today, and in the meantime, I'm going to take attendance, all right? So Christy, thank you. Shannon, thank you. Amelia, thank you. All right. Michael, thank you. Jacqueline, thank you. Antonio, thank you. Stopsy is not here today. Okay. Ivy is here. Mandy is here. Thomas is here. Angie is not here. Lampard, thank you. Tian, yes, thank you. Julian, yes. Lauren, thank you. And Peter, thank you very much. This is a very exciting topic, okay? And on Friday, we are going to show you something much more interesting when you use your credit card, okay? A lot of learning this week. And today, at least, I want you to know the meanings of ethical hacking, okay? Hacking is something called intruding in your system, okay? A good hacker means, is there any good hacker in the world? Well, we call it ethical hacker. White hat. And the bad guy, the bad hacker, we call it black hat, okay? And someone in between, we call it gray hat. So this is very interesting, all right? But the term here is very important, ethical hacker. It becomes a profession today. But 20 years ago, it's not in the professions. And now you know that you come in today, you have to transform into a professional consultant in any company today. Keep going, enjoy the discussions. There's got to be something you can ask questions about. What do you think? Hello? What do you think? So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pass the microphone to each table, and I would like each table to contribute your conclusions of your learning today on social engineering. Okay? So maybe we start from this table. So may I invite Amelia Stego to help us to understand some of your learning for today in social engineering. Any one of you, it's okay, welcome. Yes. Hello, Christy.
Shall we explain social engineering?
Whatever you want, whatever you want.
Social engineering is a kind of manipulation. So
Right.
some people may manipulate our mind so that we would give up our some personal information.
Right.
So that
It's based on one important idea. Do you believe it's human weaknesses that we're easily manipulated by others, particularly when we have wise people who don't want to say no? What do you think?
I think it is one of our weakness, and they make use of it.
Right.
Because sometimes they pretend that they are our close friends or something like that,
Okay.
and we may trust them easily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Christy. Any more comments from your table partners? Hello, Amelia.
In the video, Kevin said that he don't need to learn a lot of skill about computer. He used the human weakness to steal a lot of things.
Okay. Yes, that is very true of his success story. Yes, hello.
They not use high technology, but like telephone or email.
Okay. Right, manipulations to get the informations right. Okay, could you pass the microphone to, yes, Jacqueline's table? Jacqueline, you have something to share? Oh, Michael, thank you.
We think that it's just like all else fiction, but the difference is the social engineer is want to defraud your information.
Okay, all right. Jacqueline, you have something to say? It's all right, it's all right. Okay, that's Pastor Mandy. Ivy?
Sometimes telling lie is not purpose to lie to you, and you can not easy to believe his or her.
Okay.
Because the lie is not true and you may understand. But social engineering is purpose to lie to you, and his or her may say some serious accident to make you believe her, and you may give the money or something to her.
Yes, yes, it's like a trap. Yes, many.
And for me, after seeing this video, the first mind come to mind is to teach us not to believe someone easily. Rule number one, never trust anyone.
Okay.
Then also, and besides, I would wonder why they will use the weakness of human to justify themselves. Can I say that word?
Okay. To sacrifice. Sacrifice. It's a very interesting way to express something. Because we humans would love to help, because we're taught to love one another, particularly in the Western world. Okay, the faith tells us we need to help someone in need. We need to extend our love to others in whatever way that is possible. And sometimes we are quite willing to help. In particular, when someone asks for a piece of information, when that piece of information does not seem to be that sensitive, but indeed, from another point of view, it's exactly that piece of information that could break through a lot of defenses. That's why we really have to be very careful. We could be helpful, and at the same time, we do not need to give what is expected. Just like, I do not know if you ever experienced that in a street there may be many different backers along the street, and we know that some of these backers, particularly kid backers, they are very much controlled by gangs, right? And a lot of these elderly backers, they may be on their own, but a lot of time, people might say, should I give money to this guy? Or should I buy him a hamburger? Okay? And what happened in Hong Kong nowadays, it's we do not see a lot of backers, but we see a lot of homeless people. Homeless people. Sleeping on the streets. In particular in Tsim Sha Tsui Cultural Center. That's the best area for them. And a lot of the people have changed the strategy to help. Instead of giving them money, every weekend on Saturday, they buy a lot of the meal tickets. Okay? The meal ticket means if there's $14 per meal evening or afternoon, they bought from different restaurants nearby. And they go to this, guys, if you're hungry, take this. You can always have a lunch there. If you're hungry, take this, you can have dinner there. But we don't have much, we don't have money for you, but we have toothpaste for you. Okay? We have towels for you. If you need clothes, we have clothes for you. And this is called eco-sharing campaign, 平等分享 in Chinese. And this is one way to help. Okay? But when someone calls you on the phone, talking as if it's urgent, and he needs some help, that is something you have to be careful. Can I borrow your phone for a minute? Oh! And then the lady said, oh, there's a phone over there. All right? It's very important sometimes. Julia, you have something to share? Do you want to share something? Yes, thank you.
I think that there is no absolutely bad guys or good guys.
Okay.
And like the FBI, that they are the official hackers for to protect our state, our government. They protect the state's interest. However, the individual hackers, they hack for their own interest, and and the state won't allow this kind of action. I think what matters the most thing that is very important is that it seems whose interest you are protecting, then define you are good or bad, and the good and bad is not absolutely.
Right. Sometimes this is a very interesting question. Whose interest are we protecting? Yeah. Okay, Noreen, are you willing to share with us some of your ideas?
I think social engineering is a tool for to achieve their purpose. Usually for commercial usage. For example, a girl use her sexual attraction to do something, and maybe to sell insurance to boys using the IM online. Yeah.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
I think you're talking about some of the recent phenomenon we heard from Macau too. We heard a lot of story called linked conversations. That means the girl come up through a visual Skype or chat, okay? And 1 or 2 times later, the girl suggests that they do a liquid-based conversations, and they take off their clothes, and all of a sudden, the guy who fell into the trap got the videos duplicated, and then it's based on that, the other side is always demanding more from the victim, something like this. So, but that is a little bit different from social engineering. That it's action-based. The social engineering is very much psychological-based. Yeah, and it done in such a way that the person who became a victim does not even know it at all. That is the trick. Okay. So, can you share the microphone with your table partner? Hi, laptop.
Yeah, today after the lesson I know what is social engineering.
Okay.
I think it's a way how the people to do the social interaction, and then through the social interaction to steal someone's information, for example, their password or their private information.
Right.
And we also watched the video about Calvin
Manick.
Yeah, Calvin Manick, and know his successful story. and he's very smart. He is good at. He's a famous hacker, and he's good at the hacking technical, and I also learned that we shouldn't easy to believe or trust anyone, especially the stranger. We should sensible to protect ourselves and protect our private information.
Okay, thank you, Lambert. Antonio, you have anything to share?
Yeah. After this lesson, I think about what I done in this morning.
Okay.
I watched in Facebook have a one topic post 馬航降落喺印度。
Indian Ocean, not India.
Actually, I know that is fact, but I want to see what inside there. So I click the link. So my Facebook is still hack.
Okay.
So I think it's the thing of my mind.
Right.
I said at association engineer.
Social engineering, okay.
It's something in my mind.
Okay, thank you very much, Antonio. So, Peter, your table. Zihin, yes, thank you.
Yes, after today's I learned that we are not the professional hackers. So, hacker, because
it's okay, just go on.
Okay, well, so in order to protect ourselves, we can't just like the hacker to make a lot of protection in our computers. So I think we only can do is be careful. For example, we do not connect with some unstable free Wi-Fi in the public. Also, if someone send a message or ask for money, you make sure that is that real. For example, you make a phone call to him to ask what has happened. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any more from your table, Paula? You want to say something, Peter or Thomas?
Based on the video, social engineering is the psychological manipulation of people into performing action or divulging a confidential information.
Right.
And the second thing is about the Kevin Metric is, I think he is a genius spy or a genius hacker.
Right.
And because he can access to any personal or companies and the government information easily by hacking and cracking the computer system. And for the protection, the computer corporations, I think they must come up with a new software to protect the operating system. Because the hackers can get access to the people's computer when those computers are connected to the internet.
Yes.
So I think there must be some new systems or new ways or new software to protect, especially when the computer connect to the system. But what I'm confused is I don't know. Even the hacker can hack the operating system like Mac.
Okay.
Because like in the video they mention a lot about Windows but I don't know about the Mac. If the person can also hack the Macs, I think he must be the genius.
Okay. Thank you, Thomas. All right. We thank you very much for your sharing, and it's very stimulating They did it already. Thank you, Jihin. So it's almost time to end today's class, and I hope you can carry some thinking out of this classroom after today's topic discussion on social engineering. The technical concern is mentioned by Thomas. You see that it's very interesting. If we want to make it secure, we have less flexibility to connect. If we want to make it convenient to connect, then we have less security in terms of securing our protections. So there is always two sides of the coin. And we try to do the best we could as a computer scientist, computer engineer. But in terms of humans, you always think of something to attack the system. All right? So that's the reasons we have the discipline today, information assurance, and then to help us to do a better job in information security for the reasons we need to keep our privacy. Okay, thank you very much for coming today. It's 7 o'clock almost, and I'll see you back on Friday. Remember, don't waste time. Talk to your learning partner to get the job done, all right? So that's it for today's class, CISG 113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Until this Friday, stay tuned.